Hello, Shasta High School. Uh, this is the Chapter 6 Honors Test for the 2016-2017 school year. Um, and we'll start here with question number one. Um, so we're dealing with linear equations here. There's a lot of things that we should know at this point, and this question is just kind of representative of the types of things that we should be able to do. So the equation of a line, or find rather the equation of a line that has two properties, right? The first property is that it goes through this point -8, 5. So somewhere on the Cartesian coordinate plane, there's this point that lives way over here at -8 and up 5. So I'm trying to find the equation of a line that goes through that point, and it has to be perpendicular to another line, a line that goes through 5, 8, so I can go over 5 and up 8, and I can go over 7 and up way up to 16. So roughly there's some line like this, right? And I don't know exactly this line, but I'm asked to find this particular line, right? This line right here that, whoops, has these two properties. It has to make a right angle um, through the right angle to the line that goes through those 2 points, and it has to go through this point right here. So that's what we're attempting to find. And the first thing I need to know is I need to know the slope of the line that goes through these 2 points, 5, 8, and 7, 16. So the slope is the change in y over change in x. So slope is the change in the y values divided by the change in the x values. And if I look at this, I can see that I have 16 and 8 as y values. So I'm going to take 16 and subtract 8. That will give me the change in my y values. So I'm going to divide that by the change in my x values. I'm going to take 7 and I will subtract the number 5. So if I take a look at this in my numerator, I have the number 16 minus 8 is 8. And in my denominator, 7 minus 5 is 2. So I end up with a slope of 4. Now, that's not the slope of the line I'm looking for. That's the slope of the line that goes through these 2 points. Now, because I'm looking for a line that is perpendicular to this line, I need to use the opposite reciprocal of this slope. And it's not arbitrary. I'm not saying opposite reciprocal just for the heck of it. The reason why it's opposite reciprocal is if you consider, if you have a any line on the Cartesian coordinate plane, I don't know care what it is, but if you take this line, it's got a rise and a run. There's a particular slope there. Now, if I was to take this entire line and just rotate the entire Cartesian coordinate plane through a 90-degree angle, a lot of things would happen, but at some point this line would look like this, and this slope triangle that I have, right, this slope triangle over here, when I'm done rotating through the 90 degrees, I'll see that what's happened is what was my rise will become the run. I'll see they'll switch places after I'm done rotating, and what was the run will become the rise. So we see this happening, right? When we rotate through 90 degrees, the slopes, the rise and run change places when we go through 90 degrees. That's why it's the reciprocal. The other thing that I'm observing is if this line has a positive slope, anytime I go all the way through a 90-degree rotation, I end up getting a line that's going to have the opposite sign of that. So if a slope was negative, it'll become positive and vice versa. So all of that is just by way of review, and it just reminds me that the slope of the line I'm looking for, right, the slope I'm going to be using is -1/4. Right, this slope is 4 over 1, so I'm taking the reciprocal of that and the opposite sign. Now the other thing that I have to do is I have to ensure that it goes through this particular point. And in order to ensure that, I need to find the correct y-intercept. So I just start with this standard equation, y equals mx plus b. And I know, for example, I have a y value at 5, and I have a slope at -8, and I have this, I'm sorry, I don't have a slope of -8, I have a slope of -1/4, and I have an x value of -8, and I'm attempting to figure out my y-intercept b. So as I plug values into this, right, the only thing that I have left to find is this value of b. On the right hand side, -1/4 times 8 is going to be a positive 2. So 5 equals 2 plus b. And when I solve for b, we get that 5 minus 2 is b. So b, my y-intercept, sits at 3. So for this equation, I've got these two properties, right? I've got a y-intercept that's happening at 3 and a slope of 1/4. So my answer is y equals, let's see, my slope -1/4 times any particular x plus my y-intercept of 3. So this is the equation of a line that will go through the point -8, 5, and this particular line will be perpendicular to the line that goes through 5, 8, 7, 16.